I got the lights and shit off in here. All my shit froze, man.
All right, we live
On what?
on Facebook.
Okay.
Ready to go live, homie?
You live already? I'm ready.
Oh man, my bad. I'm sorry. I've been waving at the camera. Good afternoon. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. So it's April the 25th, 2020. The COVID virus continues. How you doing? Let's go ahead and talk about some stuff today.
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. I'm hanging in there, maintaining. There's a couple of issues I think I wanted to touch on this week. One in particular, wanted to send my condolences to the family of Skyler Herbert. That was the 5-year-old girl that lost her life to COVID-19. They did a memorial for her this week, and both of her parents are first responders. So I wanted to just send, heartfelt condolences out to them, and a thank you to them and their families for continuing to serve us even during these hard times.
Okay.
Just a thank you to them, and just our well wishes to their family as they try to recover from something so traumatic.
Absolutely. Man, I can't imagine what they're going through. Again, like you said, thank you to the service
Right.
and all of the first responders out there. When we say first responders, as we've said before, we're talking about everybody that's out here dealing with the public, and most definitely the ones that are saving lives. But people that are dealing with the public, I feel like you're saving lives as well. So shout out to the grocery store workers, to people that are, in the restaurants that are preparing food for takeout and whatnot. To everybody out there that's, dealing with the public and helping us keep some sense of normalcy. So shout out to those people as well.
Right.
But with that being said, man, we're getting ready to, get into, I'm sure, some good topics. But before we do that, let our listeners know who we are and how they can get in touch with us, man.
Well, we are Athena Protection Service, and they can get in touch with us on our 1-800 number at 800-951-4866. That's 1-800-951-4866. We are a security company, and we handle all security matters. Also, you can reach us on any social media platform at Athena Protections, Athena Protection Service, or on our website at athenaprotections.com.
All right, now. And let's shout out our sponsor.
And our sponsor is Athena Protection Foundation, and that is the foundation that supports crime victims. Right now, we got, I think, 45 masks back from Crochet Creations yesterday, and we'll be giving those out next week to the nurses that need them in the elderly care facilities and hospitals. We'll be splitting that up.
Great, great. Oh, sorry about that. So I know you said you had a couple of things on your mind. Let's get started and talk about it.
So to jump in, let's kind of go over what we're looking at this week from Corona standpoint, just so people know where we stand in Michigan. And one thing I think that we need to consider, or why Michigan can have so many cases, we are a hub throughout the country for direct flights to Asia. So that could be one of the contributing factors why we having such a hard time in Michigan, because those flights are direct from Detroit Metro. And you got a bunch of people working in Detroit Metro, a bunch of officers working, the flight attendants, the people that work in the stores in Metro. All these people are coming into contact with each other previously, and then they went about their lives throughout their own communities with their families, and that could be a contributing factor why we're seeing so much trouble in Michigan in particular.
Okay, great
Or
point.
in New York, which is another international hub for flights, which might be, why the cases are the way that they are. And
Okay,
they live in high density populated areas just as we do. In our poor communities, everybody kind of on top of each other. So, that just compounds, the issue when we talking about a contagious airborne disease. So it's just one of my thoughts on why we looking the way we looking and why we still having these high numbers that we continuing to see throughout Michigan. Right now, as of today, we got 37,203 cases in Michigan and
okay.
3,274 deaths.
Wow, and this all since the first week of March.
Right. This week we had not our highest cases. The cases are flirting somewhere around 1,200 per day still in Michigan. Roughly during this week, we saw some of our lowest numbers were 900 in the 900s. But really, we looking at 1,200 or higher per day. And then our death rate, we saw the highest this week at 232 people, and that was on the 21st in one day.
Okay.
And then today, we looking at 189 people reported dead already today. So we still in deep water here, and I think we got a ways to go. I know the governor just extended us until the 15th, but
Of May, right?
yeah, I'm thinking we could see we might end up seeing it a little longer than that. But if we don't, then I think we still should prepare to be as safe as we possibly can if we got to go out there and go back to work and start trying to find some level of normalcy, a part of our daily lives when we out interacting with each other. I would continue to still take the same safety precautions that are being taken until we see the numbers go down. So I would trust the numbers we seeing and wait on those to kind of subside before we start interacting with crowds of people and doing different things like that.
Right. Because I can tell you, I think a lot of, when the governor says, okay, we're going to extend it to the 15th, ooh, excuse me. Hopefully that cough is just from some dry air I'm experiencing. But I think the governor, when they do the extension and they say to the 15th, knowing that realistically, when we get closer to the 15th, we may get it extended again. And
Right.
as a society, you have to understand that, we have to get past this and be safe. People want to rush back to what is considered to be normal, whatever that's going to look like. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But people want to get back to that normalcy. And we have to be concerned about, okay, trying to do that too fast, what's going to happen? Just went over the numbers, 1,000 new cases, over 1,000 new cases in a day. I mean, I feel like we're far from being over this. So, the rush to get back to speeding this along, we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we're trying to rush back to? Because we've said it on many podcasts, and if we have to get into it today, we will. But the things that are truly out of your control, and they're out of your control, as far as paying some bills, if you're able to keep food in the house, these utility companies can't turn off service right now. Landlords, for the most part, and mortgage companies, finance companies can't start any foreclosures or even charging late fees at this point. So the things that we're worrying about, other than being able to keep some food in the house right now, try to not let those things overwhelm you. Yes, you'd be behind, but you're not going to be the only one in this. So as I was saying, getting back to the topic, it's just important that we be safe, number one, first. Right. And stop sweating these small things. I mean, I could tell some of the stories I read this week, a lady hitting the clerk at the store over the head because they wouldn't
Mhm.
take back the bottles returns, and she had a bag of them. So we're talking like, if it was $2 in that bag, I might be $2 off. It was not a lot of bottles and cans in there, but just the fact that she felt
Right,
that you should take these damn cans back.
man.
Or, I'm sorry.
I think people just kind of, I was told yesterday, um, not yesterday, but on Thursday, uh, I do my little counseling session to make sure my mind stay right. And he said it's depressing, being in, this situation where, um, you can't see your loved ones, and it's people in hospice, people dying, and saying their goodbyes over the phone instead of being in person with their family, and not being able to interact with people is depressing. And people are kind of getting out the house, their only outlet is to go shopping, and then they take that frustration out with them, which is when you explaining the lady having the bottles and getting violent about you know not that much money in bottles. I think is whatever else is going on in her life, she kind of just releasing that on those workers, which is unfortunate.
Right, because and it's good. Do we look at both sides of it? Because that's most definitely understanding and shed light on what she possibly going through. Let's shed light on that person who's a little more obligated because they're trying to provide a service.
Right.
And shame on people that can't let that outweigh their other frustrations going through this. Keeping a clear mind when we're going out and we're dealing with these clerks inside the stores or these restaurants or wherever it is that we're interacting with people that are providing a service. We need to show a ton of compassion for them because they're having to deal with not just you when you're in there, any and everybody else with everything that's weighing on them.
Mhm.
And those jobs are tough right now. And I know people are going through it. We all just got to show a little more compassion, most definitely.
Yeah, man, I had to go actually into work yesterday, and
How was that?
they had us spread out, all over the place. I had my mask on. I was being safe. I wiped my little work area down, and at first I was the only one in there with my mask on. And
Oh,
then
wow.
after probably an hour, I started seeing other people coming around, with their mask on, and I don't know if people felt uncomfortable or wearing it, or they might have thought they looked silly in it or whatever, but with black people in particular, as they report, or that we taking a brunt of some of the deaths and the most hard hit cases. I
Yeah.
in particular don't want to take any chances. So if I got to go out and be at work and I got to be around people, I'm wearing my mask, and I don't care how stupid I look in it. I'm gonna have that thing on.
Right. And shout out to, it's funny you say that because it immediately made me think about, and one of the topics, and I'll just go ahead and get into it now. But before I get into it, talking about the mask, because we know we're going to be wearing these things long after this. We kind of touched on it briefly. It's this opportunity for you to, go ahead and, research, look for the best deals or even get creative and maybe make yourself. But this is going to be part of the attire moving forward for a while. I don't, I'm sure us, like you said, as the black community, we're gonna do this just for the simple fact that we feel like we're being hit harder by this than others for whatever reason. Not gonna get into that right now, but this is a great opportunity for you to start thinking about, uh, you know, getting your favorite, you know, favorite sports team or your favorite colors, and sprucing it up. It don't have to just be the hospital basic looking cloth
Right.
mask. If you want to invest in some other type of mask, but know that this is right now a necessity. You want to go to the grocery store, and I went out this morning to the grocery store, and I was at the store at 8 a.m. And I got to tell you, it was a lot of people in the store without masks on. a lot more than I would have anticipated. Now the workers all had masks on. Every worker I seen in the store had on a mask and gloves. They were doing as much cleaning. They were literally cleaning the self scans after every use. There was a person who was standing there going from each one and wiping it down before the next customer. Again, this was at 8 a.m. I don't know how it's doing later on in the day.
Right.
But I say all this to say that I've seen people without the mask on. And just so people know, you have the right, from what I saw on the news yesterday, you have the right as a merchant to tell people they can't be in there if they don't have on a mask. So not only are we as the Black people more susceptible to this virus as it looks right now in the Metro Detroit area, not being educated and not knowing that you need to have a mask and, wanting to, be in style or whatever reason you need for it to be, or just being informed, I'm sorry, to know that you need to have these masks. Don't give people a chance to fuck with you during this epidemic because you're not following these guidelines. So get your mask game up, whatever it need to be. Like I say, I think people aren't wearing them, like you said, because they feel like they look silly in it
Mhm.
or they're not going to be right. I personally think it's funny because with that mask on, you can hide a lot of looks that you give people. Even though it's more so looks with the eyes, but some of the facial expressions, or when I'm just laughing at clown shit in the store or out in public, they can't see it behind the mask. So it's got a few little perks behind it. But the
Okay.
topic I wanted to get into is a couple of things. But the first one I'll say is when we talk about getting routines together right now and trying to, maintain the sleep pattern. And hopefully, if you haven't done all of these things, you try to incorporate at least one of them. And I'll just tell you, for example, I'm getting up every day at the same time. Now, I'm not setting an alarm clock. I've personally never been one that needs an alarm clock, but I'm able to get up in the morning at the same time every day. It's not a commute, so I don't have to get up as early as I used to, but still maintaining that. I'm getting up and I'm eating breakfast at the same time every day. I'm working out at the same time every day. And this is just me personally. And I ask myself, what do I need to do in order to maintain this once I have to go back to what we'll consider to be normal? How do you maintain it? And how do you, well, not how, but some ideals I want to just put out there. You getting into this routine, you should have had now at this point. And again, this is not me preaching to anybody. If you haven't started and you're gonna start today or you're gonna start in the morning, getting that routine together so that you have some normalcy so you can sleep a little bit better at night and be a little more healthier, changing your diet, including some workout, uh, just any of those things that you're doing right now, taking advantage of this consistency in the way your life is. How do you incorporate as much of this as possible into when you get back out there? And you got to set goals. You know that if, for example, you have to be to work at 8 a.m., but right now you've been getting up every day at, excuse me, you've been getting up every day at 8 o'clock. Or, if you're fortunate to work from home and all you have to do right now is get up and
Mhm.
go turn on your computer. So you're gonna have to make the adjustments. Start thinking about those things now and trying to make as many of them and include those in your routine, uh, just so that you can not have such of a hiccup when you get back out there, because it'll be so normal to you. I personally haven't had restaurant food in about 10 days.
Mhm.
Now we know once we get back out there, it's a lot harder to be able to do that when you riding past all of these restaurants and you have a 30-minute lunch out of your 10-hour work there, whatever it may be. The same way you're able to plan, what time you're gonna eat dinner right now.
Mhm.
You're able to plan, what time you're gonna start your day. Take that extra time that you have right now to set those routines up where, okay, maybe I do meal prep. People say they don't have time to do it. Well, you've had nothing but time on your hand. You can take a couple of minutes, jot it down. You know what, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm gonna do this. You know, take advantage of this is all I'm saying, to get some more grips on the routine. Because when we come out of this, we got to come out of this better than what we were before. Because if this ain't some type of sign,
Right.
we need to get our shit together. I don't care if you're a religious person. I don't care if you're a conspiracy theory person. Whatever it is, this right here, if this ain't had you thinking about you need to change some shit in your life, then shame on you. Because, hey, let's be real. This is giving the opportunity. And yeah, it's not just us. I'm not saying that we to blame of this by any means, shape, or form, but just happen to slow down like this and be able to really sit back and hear your heartbeat and all of that good shit.
Yeah.
Man,
I
take
actually
advantage of it, folks.
I got a schedule that I'm gonna start using. It's an Excel sheet, and
Okay.
I'll start writing out my schedule for the day, so I know, when I'm going to be doing certain things. Like I still work Monday through Friday. I have my work hours, but I like to get up early so that I can sit down and have my me time in the morning and
Okay.
do what I like to do before I get started. I don't necessarily like to roll out of bed and just start working, which I've done a couple days. I'm no saint, and I'm not
Okay.
immune from making the mistakes or taking advantage of having to walk to the next room to work. But my actual goal is to get up a couple hours before I need to start work and have that time that I need so that I can write down the things that I need for me. And then I'll get started with my work day. And then once I'm done with work, then I'll start to do the things that I want to do or the goals that I want to accomplish throughout the week. I'll have those scheduled in. So I kind of am on some kind of track and some kind of pace, so I don't overdo it, and or I'm not underachieving. So I got something to look forward to. I got goals that I can meet, something that's manageable. Because I'm the type of person that'll try to do everything in one day. If
Oh,
I
really?
Yeah, like if I can get everything done, I'll try to do 4 or 5 things at once, and that's not good. So it's for me, it's important for me to have a schedule and be able to map out when I do certain things. Like I got an investment class that I've been taking online.
Excuse
So
me.
it's through the Dr. Boyce Watkins Business School. He got this little class that you can take. I started taking that. I got books I want to read. I got little hobbies that I want to do around the house that I entertain myself with. So I put those things on my schedule so that I know, when I'm doing what and when I'm having my leisure time or when I have my learn time or when I want to handle my business. So that kind of helped me get through the week.
Right. Now I know a lot of people. I talked about being at home and not eating restaurant food and
Mhm.
cooking. Uh, I'm seeing so many people getting creative on the internet, and this again talking about the next thing I wanted to discuss is what do you want to do when this is all over? And when I say that, are you happy with what you were doing before this or what you currently doing? Career wise, relationship wise, whatever it is, it's time to make those assessments while you have this idle time and come up with a game plan for those too. If it's you want to change your career, you want to change the way you treat people, you want to move differently, whatever it is, this is a great opportunity to get those things up and running. But I know that people have really been creative with what's going on.
Mhm.
People, of course, we think about just off the top some of the celebrities. I seen Will Smith. He turned to, just trying to get away from the family. You know how men like to run out to the garage with the
Mhm.
man cave type of thing. If for those that aren't fortunate enough to have, a man cave within the house, i.e. a basement or whatever it may be. Some people have a room, whatever it is, but typically if a guy can get out to that garage and tinker around with, his hobby, or he got it set up. I think about the show King of Queens with Doug and his wife Carrie. Doug used to be able to go out to the garage, and he had this big screen TV out there, a sofa, and him and his buddies hung out in the garage. But Will took this garage thing, and now 2 weeks later, it's a full blown show. He got guests coming on. He had a cooking challenge with, i.e., Kevin Jameson from the show King of Queens that I saw the other day. And I'm just like, man, everybody has these creative type of things that you may have been thinking about. Now you can see, if you're watching us right now today, before we were doing this, you all know we were going into a studio to do this and talk about our different topics. Well, we took advantage of some technology out there, and we brought you, we're bringing you our podcast right here live from our homes. So shout out to the technology, and then shout out to you, Dan, for doing your little bit of homework. I shouldn't say a little bit like it didn't mean nothing, but doing the homework you did and getting us up and running on this platform. And this is something we can do for years to come as we continue to get more and more people following and want to listen to what we talk about.
Right.
So take advantage of this. If you like cooking, do start out with doing some videos about cooking. For the young people out there, you guys have so many talents with the way you utilize these devices. It may be something as simple as talking to people that's a little bit younger than you, that's going through things their first year of high school, or kids nowadays, it may be the first day of middle school. Being able to talk about a particular topic or give information on a particular hobby that you're interested in on to help somebody else. So take advantage of this time to start figuring out what is it that you want to do.
So I need to ask the group a question, like, how does everybody cope with being locked in the house? And then what are your plans when the restrictions are lifted?
Oh, that's a good topic. So while you're getting people to, type in their response, for those out there listening, that first question was, say that one more time, Dan.
Well, how does everybody cope with being locked in? And then what are your plans when the restriction is lifted?
Man, so that first one, what do you do while you locked in? It's like, obviously, it's going to be different based off of if you're doing that on your own or you got multiple people in the house. So my situation, as we know, is just myself and my now 18-year-old son. So we're able to give each other a lot of space. We're able to separate out. So it's a little different from us. But I'd love to hear some input from anyone out there that has a chance to respond to that.
Me myself, man, I'm gonna take it easy when they open everything back up. I don't have any plans on being a part of any parties or large groupings or being anywhere where it's a bunch of people involved. I don't plan on doing any of that stuff because I think I want to be as safe as I possibly can. So I'll let everybody else.
You're saying when we originally, when the stay at home is lifted?
Right. Yeah. When it's lifted, I'm gonna still keep chilling. I don't know about everybody else, but I'll be chilling.
Right. You're not gonna be the first one to run out. I agree with you. I do want to go touch some family members, or I shouldn't say touch. Let me change that. I want to be in some people's presence,
right,
and continue to express the love and the bonding that we've been able to, heighten as we've gone through this now for week 6, now 7 of this pandemic. So but for the most part, I can agree. Me personally, I want to take it slow. You know, I feel like I kind of take it slow anyway. You know, there's a
Mhm.
few things that are tweaked, but most definitely, just for the simple fact of, you know, we talked about it before. I want to move differently financially.
Mhm.
You know, now that you see, you know, I can't control gas prices. I can't control, you know, a lot of those economic things, but I can control, you know, again, how much fast food I eat, how much better I try to prepare for my day so that I am being financially responsible.
Yeah. I
So
hear
yeah,
most people saying that they staying in. I guess we all gonna be in the house.
I mean, we saw
Yeah.
we saw on TV or on social media. You saw that the governor in Georgia was saying he was going to open up, you know,
Hmm.
specifically, you know, the nail salon, beauty
Right.
salons, barber shops, and I was like, man, to me that sounds like a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not saying that other races don't use those things. You know, that wouldn't be nice, but in the city of Atlanta, a
Hmm.
huge percentage of what I would consider to be the consumers of that,
Right.
which is a large population of Black people. So many of the Black people in that community voiced their concerns and, you know, said the same thing. If y'all don't stay your asses at home, you know how we do, we'll take a whole line full of letters and you can look at those letters for about 3 seconds and say every word in that line of letters on there and know exactly what the hell somebody was talking about because we know how we talk.
Right.
So yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be having that same thought process. Stay at home. I think the young people, I think some of them are going to get right back out there and get back to it because they're the ones that's struggling the most now and seem to be
Hmm.
uh, challenging the strongly suggested, you know, stay at home order, you know, steps right now, still wanting to get together. I mean, they're still getting together, drag racing and being out of the car filming. And
Right.
like you say, you got to get there. You got to be going to gas stations. You're going to all these different places in order to be out to do these things. So we still got a lot of people that's not taking this serious. And as if it continues at the rate that it is, I think unfortunately more and more people will get the message.
Yeah.
Hope we don't have to go to that, but I think that's what it's going to take.
Yeah. Candace brought a good point up about the earth healing. So the ozone hole in the
Oh
ozone
wow,
been closing since we've been staying at home. Also, there were no school shootings last month, uh, which is ridiculous because school was closed. It's the first time I think in like 5 or 6 years uh,
wow,
there were no school shootings. And then I think they said there were no homicides last week in Miami. So,
wow.
uh, this.
How we still got people getting shot and killed here in Metro Detroit? If y'all don't sit your asses down, man. But
Well,
great point Candace brings up. Great point.
how it is when it get warm outside. People die. That's just a reality in the city of Detroit, and probably any other city. When it's warm and it's a little bit of weather and people kind of get out around each other, somebody get killed. It's not a stereotype, or it's I'm not making it up. It's just it's what happens.
I say that
So,
sarcastically because we know
yeah,
that, like you said, it's happening everywhere. But man, y'all don't sit your asses down. Y'all can't let that shit die over. But anyway, back to Candace's point. Great point, by the way. Talking about the pollutions. They're showing, you know, skylines throughout the country, i.e., LA, you know,
mhm,
known for its smog. Those skies are the clearest that they've been. People
right,
can't remember when the skies of LA were that clear.
right,
And funny, when I lived in the South, when I lived in Charlotte, and just I didn't even realize how clear it was there until I came back to Metro Detroit for the first time and seeing how much smog we actually had here compared to down south. And you know, that's another plus. It almost make you concerned that, you know, did we need to slow the world down? Is this virus to help slow us down for a while to save us all from, you know, imploding this planet?
mhm,
Because it's helping throughout the world.
right. A sign of good news, and I actually got this news from Danae. China reports no corona deaths for the 10th straight day. So that's the sign of positivity right there. Looking up, 10 days of no deaths in China. That's pretty good.
Wow, that is,
They say
that's a huge.
838 people remain hospitalized with COVID-19, and 1,000 people are currently undergoing isolation. So
And
that's
that's in
pretty
China.
good. Yeah, that's in China. So that's pretty good that they're seeing some relief and things are starting to come together for them. And hopefully they come together for us. But we look like we still on the upswing.
Exactly. It's interesting. But back to the point of the air
Mm-hmm.
being cleaner. Also seen in Paris, as you go through Italy and some of the canals, they're seeing the water is clearer than they've ever seen it. So
Yeah.
most definitely helping the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we continue that? It'll be tough when we live the way we live. And uh, funny, I think that when this is all said and done, anybody looking to get a new car this summer, all of the 2020 vehicles that's sitting idly on the lots and car companies
Mm-hmm.
making respirators right now. But that's just one thing. We are the Motor City. It's gonna be some fire sales on some 2020 models.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already hearing $10,000 reductions right now. So
Right.
as we get ready to get up and running, I'm sure we'll have the new model year, the 21 models is going to be pushed back. They normally come out. What is that? Labor Day weekend is when you start seeing the new models start launching. There's a ton of this year's models that are sitting there because I'm sure people aren't making those purchases right now. So it ought to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the market for those type of things, take advantage of it. The housing industry, I think these are some of the lowest rates that we've seen in a long time.
Right.
If you can get in a fixed rate under 3%, I think that's a great thing. I'm not a licensed agent, so don't hold me to these things. But if you can get a fixed rate, i.e., 15 or even 30 years at under 3%, you're doing all right. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of programs out here to help people do that as
Mm-hmm.
well. So I'm excited because the
Right.
economy will, take off. And again, start thinking about those type of things and what do you want to do when the economy starts back up.
Right.
Race yes, there's going to be some people in the race that's going to get a head start. They already have it because they're out there doing things now. But a lot of us going to get a chance to start over uh, with a better shot at doing things that we wouldn't have probably been able to do before.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing, if there is anything to be excited about, something like that is probably one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. So obviously we still got domestic violence issues going on. People have to continue to provide that support. If you got family members that are involved in domestic situations, continue to look out for them, reach out to them, make sure they're okay. And there's still resources out there. So if people need to get out and go somewhere or get away from somebody, there are things out there where they can go to be safe if they need to move around and get out of those situations where they're involved in some form of domestic violence where it's unsafe for them to be there still.
Exactly. It's a tough one. I mean, I know people out here fighting over what channel we gonna watch if they are reduced to,
Mhm.
space and, the ability to be able to watch or listen to, whatever music, or tired of that person that only know how to cook 3 type of meals. Take this time and get creative. There's tons of meals you can make. It can be based off of what you got in the refrigerator or in your cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of things that you can do right now to try to change up the routine and make it a little different. But again, that understand that's not necessarily the solution when you got a person that's abusive. Not
Mm-hmm.
making light of that in any way, shape, or form. But I know I've had fun with being a little creative on things I make. Because when you think about it, the average person, especially when you work wherever you work, you go to work, you come home, if you're in school or you got kids, whatever it is, when it comes to eating,
Mm-hmm.
and if you thought about this, the average family eats the same, probably less than 12 things on a consistent basis, i.e. your chickens or, and even the way it's made. A
Mm-hmm.
huge percentage of us eat the same things on a pretty consistent basis.
Right.
Whether it be healthy or unhealthy, because I'm sure some people can say, yeah, we order pizza at least in a 30-day period. We probably gonna get at least 1 to 2 pizzas per week.
Damn. Yeah.
Or we're gonna eat fast food chicken or fast food burgers or fast food whatever. That's
Right.
gonna get ate a minimum of 5 times this month. And if you going and getting fast food every day for breakfast, lunch, or dinner,
Mm-hmm.
or all,
Right.
start doing those numbers. And we could talk about those all day. When you look at what is it? Saying just spending on average $5 a day on lunch at work, 5 days a week, that's $25, right? You
Mm-hmm.
do that for 4 weeks, that's $100 you spend just on lunch. Can you do it differently? So
Right.
yeah, there's definitely some things to consider and try to change where you can be more financially responsible. Because I know for me, I'm scared that this could happen again.
Right.
And I want to be financially in a situation where, going 30 days without being able to move doesn't break me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us are on the verge of being broken with the lack of opportunities to earn money for some people.
I think for money wise, if you have it, and I know we talked about this before, if you have the money to invest in the market, put your money into the stock market. And I mean you can invest a few dollars a week, whatever you can do. Start investing your money and holding it and keeping it in place because you are guaranteed not to make money if you don't. So times like this, when the market is on a downturn, these are the kind of times where you need to start chipping in on that stuff while stocks are discounted. That will help you grow your money later because the market will rebound and your money will grow. So whatever you can do, if you haven't been doing it, you can do it. There's various apps that you can use to do it. Um, Look into that and start saving your money. I think that's really important. That's something that we really don't do in our community as far as savings go. A savings account will get you a penny a month, and that is nothing. And if that's how, if you think that's the safest way to go, then you are leaving a lot of money on the table. So the stock market will get you over the long run 15 or 20% interest on your money, and that's way better than just losing out on nothing by having to sit in the bank and the bank not giving you anything. So if they've tricked you into thinking that the market is not something that you should put your money into, I think you need to do a little bit of homework and
Exactly.
start learning about what how we've been missing out for generations now.
And for people out there that's listening to us, if you know someone that can speak more in detail, we'd love to, get them on the show and have them talk about that. Um, as we said before, this is a really easy platform. It's, all you got to do is have a charged cell phone and an email address, and voila, you can be on here. So
Right.
for those out there, if you know someone that can give some specifics on some of these things that Dan's talking about, please, get in touch with us. We'd love to have you on. We can, we try to do this on Saturday afternoons around 5 or 6. If we can get someone that can talk on that, that would be great. And also, we before I forget, because we're been on for a minute now, just want to also extend an offer to anyone. We talked about people being creative with, what they're, doing with their downtime. If you have a business, even if it was a previous business that you're trying to hold on to and maintain during these tough times, get in touch with us so we can shout you out on the show. We're doing that for no additional charge at this time, just because we want to help. We have this platform. We want to take advantage of this opportunity and give people out there opportunity to, get in touch with us, tell us what you do, and how our listeners can get in contact with you. We're doing that again at no charge for the rest of the month. Great time for us to join together and help one another out.
Yeah. So my mother say she saved money by staying home. If you saving money, put it up in something. Put it up in something. I can't stress that enough. Put your money up and let it grow. You're not gonna miss it if it's $5 a week. I swear you won't. Just put it up and start investing it. So it's something that we all can do, and we all can change our lives over the course of the next 10 years if we hold on to it. We invest our money and just let it sit there and don't spend it or don't pull it out for anything. Just start, looking into
And
our
again, we're not talking about no large amounts. What you say, $5 a week?
Yeah. I mean, you could do $5 a day. That's $35 a week. I mean, that's something most of us can afford to spare. So
we're talking about, we're giving some wide ranges here. We're talking about as little as $5 a week, and challenge yourself a little bit more, $5 a day. Now we're talking about $35 a week. We're not, asking for no whole. And I shouldn't even say ask, because we're not asking you for anything.
yeah,
We're
it's for you.
suggesting
Yeah,
what
it's for
you do
you.
for yourself. So, when I say asking yourself if it's okay to
Right.
put $5 a day away. Is that realistic, or is it more realistic to do 5 a week? Whatever your number is, set a goal and stick to it, and start. It's kind of like when we talked about working out. We talked about getting the routine together. The coolest thing about the routine, the guaranteed way for you to be successful with it, was get your ass up and get it started.
Right.
So do the same thing with the finances. It's a great habit. Now we know that we're talking about maybe, changing your eating habits to where you give up one lunch a week if you still are going to continue to purchase your lunch every week. Or, if it's giving up, you buy breakfast and lunch, giving up one of those every day so you can put aside that $5 so you can do $5 a day. It can be done, folks, so, challenge yourself to take care of yourself in these times as you move forward. So, yes, I love it. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So, saving your money, getting on a routine, all the things I think we covered today, especially with going back into, dealing with our everyday life, especially when we all going back to work, we're going to start spending gas money, and we might eat out a little bit more. We might have a couple more drinks while we out and doing those kind of things.
Some days I don't know about the drinking if it could be more than what it is now.
Right. If you're not spending that money now, put it up. And then, once we get back to, our routines, make sure, your routine is something that's beneficial for you and consider it long term for what's going on with you, with yourself and with your family.
And we get it. We also just think it's important for somebody listening out there that's really struggling. And right now, I get it. I talked about it at the beginning of the podcast. I know there's people out here that's worrying about, the basics of life right now with this going on. So again, anything that we can do or direct people to try to help in those situations. So I say that to say we understand that some of what we're talking about, people are barely being able to do the basics. So even if if you don't have the extra money right now, because you just don't have it because you're not working, we're
Mm-hmm.
saying that take opportunity at this point to have a game plan when you do get back to work as
Right.
to how you can save. So it's also that aspect of it. We get it that some of you can't see saving right now because you drowning. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have time to take some money and put it up right now because you don't have none. We get that. We're just suggesting that once this is done, go on that life a little different than before.
Right.
You know, we all getting a reset. It's no other way to look at it. You're getting a reset. Here's your opportunity to, start over. So great point. I
Yeah, I mean,
agree.
we have a habit of thinking we can't build wealth for some reason. Um, and that's just a lie. It's just a flat out lie.
Lack of education.
It's
It's the
it's,
ignorance of it.
it's complete BS. So, I mean, there's just Acorns, for instance, for those of you that's watching us, and I don't make money off Acorns, but not like for telling you to do this, but Acorns really donate your spare change. Your spare change goes into the market. That's how the program works.
And they're
So
not donating it, they're investing it.
they're not donating, so they invest it. So if you go to McDonald's and you spend, $4.50, the 50 cent goes into your portfolio. Every time you do that, every time you spend money, that change that's left over, they invest it for you. So, and you can say, I want to, on top of that, you can adjust in there. I want to spend so much money per month. I want to put up $25 a month on top of my spare change. And that's something that over time can build wealth for you.
Right.
And all you have to do is start that Acorns or stacks or any of those things. Or if you want to do individual stocks and start learning those things, there's several online free things that you can look at where people show you how the stock market works. So all you got to do is just take the time and invest in yourself. And then we should be the last generation that's poor. This, especially by if we keep teaching each other how to do these things and what we need. We should be the last generation that has nothing.
Well, I think some things that's gonna help take longer than this podcast with some of the lack of education, the lack of not just education, but when you live in certain communities, the lack of resources. Like you said, as a whole, if you're watching us right now on a smart device and you have a job, there is opportunities for you to change it. That's all we're saying. We're not two rich people sitting here telling you what you need to do to be like us. We everyday cats just like you who trying to give you some advice on how you can be better.
Yeah,
Am
see,
I there all the way as an individual with my savings? No, but I will tell you that the things I did in the past up to this point have helped me tremendously to be able to be where I'm at today. So trust me when I tell you from my own personal experiences of not being where I want to be right now, but knowing that I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I didn't take
Right.
on some of these habits of investing and saving money. It has been a great help in my life. So yes, we're trying to give you some advice that we know is known to work. It's just that simple.
Yeah, K Oldester, you can start any investment account with $50. Pretty much
Yep.
any E-Trade or Ameritrade, any of those accounts, I think 25 or $50 is what they require you to open it with. And that's it. And
Mm,
then you can set up if you got a bank account, you can set up your bank account to transfer money over to your investment account every time you get paid. And then when you're ready to start buying stocks, I've been taught if you invest in energy stocks, you will be fine. Energy stocks cost anywhere between $6 and $50. And just keep buying shares of those particular stocks, reinvest the dividends that they give you, which is a quarterly payment that they give you based on the amount of stocks that you have. Just reinvest those dividends into that and you'll be fine. Invest in companies that you use. If you eat at McDonald's all the time, invest in McDonald's. If you drink Coke, invest in Coke. Just have a piece of ownership in the things that you buy every day. So that's all you have to do. And it doesn't take a lot of money. It just take a little bit to start off. And over time, you will be fine.
great point. I love it. Great point.
And I know we do this every week. We started off talking about how we adjust back to normal, with the intent of not being where you was before we started. I think that's, the point I think we've been trying to make here. Set yourself some
Exactly.
goals, and there's no reason for us to be struggling, especially anybody that has kids. Your kids shouldn't be struggling at all in the next 10 to 15 or 20 years if you teaching them these same things and you have them start investing, because compound interest is better than anything else. So they will have way more than you ever will. So that's why I say, if we keep teaching each other, we keep talking to each other and learning from each other, we should be the last generation that ever knew what struggling was.
Great points. Hit the nail right on the head there. Like you said, so many of them where you can set it up right on your smartphone. There's, some pretty known name companies. I know you mentioned E-Trade. You also talked about Acorn. Acorn is really cool because it gives you the opportunity to, start really small. For that individual that don't feel like they have $500 to start, there are apps out there that are very inexpensive, and like you said, they'll take the money right out on paydays so that you don't even miss it, and it can be small amounts. With the Acorn, you don't even miss it because it's taking the money and rounding up to the nearest dollar and taking that, whatever that change is, to round up to the next dollar and just invest in that. And you'll be amazed, especially if you out there and you whipping that credit card out, because I do it myself, and that's how I put money. My savings account is set up to where anything I use my debit card for, it takes the change and rolls it over into my checking account for me, just to keep into my savings account. Any money I use out of my checking account on my debit card, it in turn takes the change. So yes, taking that money and investing it, that's a quick thing that you can do. And you'll be amazed at how many times you use your card and rounding up. You're getting gas, you're buying groceries, you're buying stuff online, whatever you're doing, and it's not a lot, you won't miss it.
Right.
And set it in there, and no, I know people do Christmas funds and save a ton of money that way. How about you take that same money that you just got sitting in, i.e. a Christmas fund, which they just collecting interest off of it if you're using the traditional bank Christmas fund where you put your money aside. Let that money be working for you. And then, yes, come Christmas, you'll get to a point where you will be able to take just the money you made off of investing it that way. And that's what you use to spend for Christmas. And you still got the money you invested working for you for the rest of the year. Get over that January slump of being in debt.
Hmm.
Thinking that that February income tax gonna get you back right. Stop living 2 and 3 months behind like that. Get yourself ahead. So some great points. And again, our goal is, not to, talk over people's head. These are things that if you got a smart device that you're looking at us on right now or listening to us, these are things you can do. We just mentioned a few of them. Do your research. Use the smart device and do some research. And again, if there's people out there who've done a little more and have some
Right.
more success stories, get in contact with us. We love to share this with our listeners. We know we have the ability to reach a lot of people, and we want it to be in a positive way. The reason we talk about it all the time, the reason we partnered together and started the company is we want to help people. And right now, if we can help you during this pandemic, if we can help you to have a brighter outlook on things, that's what we want to do. So great point. Anything else out there?
Not for me. I'm gonna throw a name out here for y'all. That's Dr. Boyce Watkins, um, the Black Business School. If you find he got a lot of sponsored ads going on, if you find his products discounted, they worth it. Or Dave Ramsey, if you find his products discounted, they are worth it. Those are two educational finance major people that can help you understand how to maneuver in the market or how to save your money or how to invest your money. Their products are pretty good. I've purchased both of them before. Um, if you have it and you want to invest in yourself, those are two people that I trust that will provide you the right information and give you a good education on understanding finance, savings, life insurance, and all those type of things.
Okay. It's good information, man.
Yeah, but for I mean, we looking at what, another 21 days lockdown, still 3 weeks until they update us and tell us we gonna be locked down some more. Uh,
Right.
I would say um, be ready for the adjustment when it comes, whenever it comes. Let's continue to be safe. I think we all agree from what I've saw in the comments that we all intend to uh, keep it safe and keep it at home for the most part, visit our family um, that we usually visit, or some people we may not have seen in a while. We'll go and see them. Um, I like to get back to, our Friday routine of getting together and playing the game and doing what we do. And I ain't seen
Right.
you guys in a minute, so I want to go down there and see them. Um, just the things that are the things that we enjoy. So, I am looking forward to some of that, but I'm also cautious in making sure that I stay safe. And from what I see, everybody that's watching us today, they plan on doing the same, and I appreciate that.
Right. Be safe. Can't argue with that. Oh man, some other things that have been interesting is seeing how people are dealing with the lack of beauty products right now and grooming, i.e., haircuts. I'm
Right.
seeing some pretty wild beards and
Yeah.
froze on guys. I've seen so many women natural, which I love it. I'm be honest with you.
Hmm.
I get it. I understand it. You know, I'm glad that my look is maintenance free. I don't need any help to maintain this hairstyle that I rock. So just interesting to see how
Right.
creative people are getting with maintaining some
Yeah.
sense of what they consider to be grooming.
Hey man, you know what? I wash it. I put a little grease in it, and I don't do nothing else. I'm just wearing it. I'm gonna have that Tommy Hearns in a minute. I'm gonna be walking around looking like Tommy.
Oh man, man. And we talk about essential workers out there, and I know I don't hit them all on the head, but just thinking about a close friend of mine that's a postal worker.
Yeah.
Shout out to the postal workers and the Amazon people that's still getting product out here to us during these times. Want to give you guys a shout out too, because I don't know what I'd do without Amazon, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see it a lot of Amazon boxes out there. One thing I want to say, um, I saw this yesterday, or it might have been mostly yesterday, with the president talking about disinfectants, and I saw a ton of people trying to take up for him, saying what he meant to say, or trying to explain what he meant by what he said. And then he came on yesterday and said that he was talking about hand sanitizers type disinfectants, and that he was just being sarcastic. So all of the shit that people post, uh, the president don't need your help about what he's trying to say. He has proven time and time again that what he says is exactly what he meant. And
Right.
I honestly respect that about him, that he doesn't pull any punches and ain't sugarcoating anything, and he don't even take the help when they trying to make him look good. He just stick to what he doing. So I respect the honesty of him, and he say what he mean. He don't need your help. So uh, it's kind of frustrating constantly seeing people try to take up for him, but I
It's
don't
been
think he
that way
needed.
since day one.
Yeah, I don't think he needs your help, and he don't want your help. When he say something, he mean what he say, and I respect that, whether it's right or wrong.
Oh man, I won't even get into a long-winded conversation about that. But
You
stop drinking bleach, damn it. But I
know,
mean,
they calling
we
them all kind of.
we the same people out here that was eating Tide Pods
Yeah.
about 12 months ago. So
So I would say this: if you have not been taking your medical advice from a president before, don't start now. You probably have your own physician that you get your medical advice from. I will continue to do so. I think that's the best way to go about it.
and it's unfortunate because right now when you have something like the current pandemic, people are scared. And when people are scared, we know is almost like when we talk about painting a rat into a corner, it attacks, or
Mhm.
don't you know. So people are making decisions right now that aren't necessarily. We know they're not intelligent decisions, but due to the pandemic, I think that has a huge part to do with why people are making these decisions. I'm not justifying it, but man, drinking bleach, uh,
Yeah, I mean, he didn't say that, and I would never recommend anybody do that. But uh, I, I'm pretty sure in his mind he means well, but it just don't come off that way. So uh,
right.
I would, I don't know. Is
It's 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 a lot of it. One, when we talk about our current president, you're always being compared to at a minimum the previous.
that's a tough
And
one
then
right there.
you're gonna have that's just the norm.
Right.
And then you have our current time where this is probably the first president to be this um, available on social media,
Right.
uh, and all of the time I can remember being able to have access, has his own operating and controlling his own account. I felt
Mhm.
like previous presidents, even though some of this social media was starting to be popular, I always felt like their sites might have been ran by,
Right.
administrated by, their staff.
Hmm.
Whereas it's pretty safe to say some of the stuff that we see from this current office, the president, he's sitting there having a drink and he firing away. So yeah, and he stick to what he say, and that's just it's part of our society that now we actually have that. I actually think our next president will probably be a entertainment celebrity from the rap community or the movie community again. You know, entertainers seem to be the new thing to do for the president. You know, it'll be interesting to see who's in office at the end of this year, and most definitely if the same administration moves on and gets another 4 years,
Right.
who and what type of person will be in there. Because most of the current senators and governors pretty much showing that they're complete fucking idiots. Some of the mayors, and I didn't plan on getting into this, but please tell me you saw the interview with the mayor from Vegas.
Yeah, yeah, I saw
Come
that.
back to Vegas and she wants him to come now. Number one, I think she was actually drunk during that interview. And that's the only thing that'll make her seem a little bit closer to normal. Because if she wasn't drunk, she's a damn idiot.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I
They
would.
said they're going to practice social distancing at the casino. How in the hell are you going to do that? That'll be very interesting with the way the casino is set up and the amount of hundreds of thousands of people come through there.
I don't know, man.
Very interesting.
I know people don't like people next to them when they on them slots though. But
Well,
at the
I
table,
get that.
yeah, at the
But
table,
you got a person that, and it's funny you say that. So you give people their space because I've seen, and talking about slots, I've seen people that play. They're usually playing at a minimum the slot machine on either side of them or both sides, depending on where they at.
right,
You'll see people playing three of them all at the same time. So so I can get it. You could do that as far as the distancing.
right. But at the
How many
table,
people you would need and when and how do you go in and get these machines cleaned? Because people are superstitious. I don't want you spraying and trying to wipe and clean next to me. I don't want you trying to clean that one because I'm still using it. People, I seen a movie where a guy wanted a little kid to be killed because he felt kids was bad luck while he was shooting dice. And for anybody that's watched movies and know I'm talking about Harlem Nights with Eddie Murphy as a kid in that movie and Richard Pryor. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But yeah, so it would be interesting. And then the response of, let the casinos figure it out. You're going to put all these people from all over the world. People don't just come to Vegas from, Henderson, the suburb of Las Vegas. They come from all over the world to go there. And you don't have a plan, but you needed to be back open.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Also looked at like in her defense, she probably got the mob pushing her to do her part to get the city back open. But we all know the mob don't run Vegas anymore.
Yeah.
So
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but I brought that point up to say that we got a lot of people who we thought because they were in these positions. And shame on us for assuming that people who are running our cities, our states, and our country would be smarter than the everyday average person and have the ability to, if not have the information themselves, surround themselves with people that have it and let them do the talking when the talking needs to be spoke on those particular topics that they're experts in.
Right.
Blank. Because I'm not getting ready to give you no details on brain surgery, except for I do know that it involves your brain. That's it. The president trying to talk specifics about viruses and cures for those viruses is a topic that he should leave alone, even though he surprisingly knows a lot about them. No, he does not. And you can't have a president being sarcastic. If it's right now in this current time, and at that level, we don't need you to be sarcastic. You do that when you're playing poker with your buddies or out on the golf course. When you're speaking to this nation, we can't have you being sarcastic.
Right.
We don't need the president to be a fucking comedian. Leave that to people like myself. Let me think I'm funny because I ain't harming nobody with my what either is or not funny. So,
you are funny.
He needs to stop it. Motherfucker, you're not funny. That's not even the job we need you to do. Now, Dave Chappelle, he was a funny president. We appreciated when he was the president, but Donald, Mr. Trump, current president, stop it.
Yeah. All right, man. I think we done covered a lot. It's 7 o'clock. We done been on here for about 90 minutes.
That's awesome, man. And for the
Yeah.
people out there, like I said, we're still in the building stage of this thing. It's kind of like having on a blindfold, standing next to an elephant with your hand on it. You know you're touching something big. You just don't know how big it is. And that's how I feel about you and I with the things we're trying to accomplish. We got a blindfold on us. We're touching the elephant. We just don't know that it's an elephant. We don't know how big this shit's gonna be. But we on to something here, man. I get a lot of positive feedback, you know, from our listeners.
Yeah.
People, even when I had my mask on, people are recognizing me out in public. So people don't know we've got millions of listeners that are
Right.
listening to us. So be a part of this. And if you want to come on and talk about, even if you want to come on and talk about your product, you know, like I say, we'll give you a chance to come on and either reach out to us. We can advertise it for you. We'll give you a couple of minutes to talk about products. So, you know, we up for changing it up. It doesn't have to be the same platform. We don't want to get painted into a box as a podcast. We kind of just trying out everything. So, you know, if you're an Instagram model, holla at me. You know, if you're up and coming artist. Now we can't play we're not gonna play anybody's music right now. We can't do that. I'll just put that disclaimer in there. But you can tell people you can get in touch with us with how they can follow you, and we'll most definitely share that. And the only reason I say that is because with music, you know, we have a wide array of what's tasteful to one person versus another. You know, we won't get into that within this podcast at this time. No, I can't say we won't have a rap battle in the future. We won't never do that. But right now, our goal is to give people opportunity to put themselves out there. If you have something that you want to physically be able to show to our listeners, we can offer you some time to do that as well. But I promise you out there to our listeners, we'll try to keep it interesting and as well somewhat respectful. But again, for you, whatever it is that you do, like I said, give us the opportunity to give you some exposure, a great opportunity to, you know, help you launch that next step in life or continue on what you're already working on. So, man, if you want to bring us on home, tell the listeners how they can get in touch with us.
Absolutely. You can get in touch with us on any social media platform at Athena Protection Service. As always, like and share. If you catch us on YouTube, you can catch all.
Like that, baby.
Yeah, you can catch all of our podcasts on YouTube at Athena Protection Service. Just subscribe and hit the bell if you want notifications whenever we post something. Um, I want to just say thank you to everybody that came on the podcast today. In particular, thank you to Danae for sending me some information offline that we talked about today that helped us get through the podcast with some of the information. And
yes,
thank you for everybody in the comment section that was talking and sharing information. As always, Candace shared some information and you know, dropping things in the comment sections that we need. We appreciate what you do. And
yes,
just rolling with everything else as we continue to move forward. The numbers are what they are. We are still going up with our numbers, so everybody continue to stay safe. If you go out, wear your mask, wear your gloves. Be mindful of cross contamination when you're wearing your gloves. Don't leave your gloves in the street or dump them in parking lots, anything like that. Dispose of them properly. Just stay safe out there. That'll be just what I have to pass right now.
right.
And make your goals. If you want to do like I do, make your schedule. And if you want to learn some things about finance or anything else, there's plenty of resources out there just reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to share those with you.
Awesome. So some great stuff, and I'll just finish with this before we sign off. Sorry, I've had a tickle in my throat. I'm not under the weather at this point. Just ate some pecans before starting, and they always tend to give me a tickle in my throat. So don't worry about me physically out there, everyone. Just needed water, and my engineer wasn't able to be here with me and be able to keep me hydrated on set, so I do apologize. But one of the last things I wanted to just share a safety or cleaning tip of the week. I know it's hard to find disinfectant out there. We talk about people making those all on disinfectant type of things, but a couple of things you can clean with, and I know these things to be okay. Not be harmful to you. I've heard that you can use peroxide for wiping and cleaning down countertops. It helps kill bacteria and whatnot, as well as alcohol. I mean, you can do bleach, but you would have to be careful because that could discolor some things. But I'm sure in a lighter solution of it, and just be careful. But I know those are some things you can do to help keep your house disinfected if you're not able to get out and get those other products. So again, do your research. I'm sure there's other things around the house. I know baking soda mixtures and things of that nature to clean appliances and stuff like that. But just do your research. Don't get frustrated with the lack thereof of some products that aren't available. Uh, so my safety tip of the week. But again, to everyone out there, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And again, I can't stress this enough because I've asked a few people to come on, and it seems intimidating if you're out there watching. It's not hard. I know I make this uh, look like it's very top notch. I'm just a regular guy with shit on my mind, and we'll get you through it. So come on here, spend a little bit of time with us. You ain't doing nothing else anyway on the Saturday afternoon. You're not getting ready to go to the club tonight. Not going to the bar tonight. Unfortunately, you can't even go do that thing tonight. Well, some of y'all might still be risking that, but be safe if you are. So
Right.
with that being said, holla at us, man. Help us help you, and help us uh, give people something to look forward to, if even a hour and a half on a Saturday afternoon. We love you all. Want to tell my family and my close personal friends that I love you. Stay strong. It's starting to be my tagline. I know I say it every week and I stole it from somebody, but we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. We're going to get through this. That's just what we do, okay? So take it easy, everybody.
All right, everybody. Next week we'll see y'all same time, same place.
All right now.
All right.